What's up, folks? It's your boy DT 2.0, and today we have a review on the INNOCN 4K Art Gaming Monitor. And the reason why I put quotes around that is because, you know what? Let's just get into it. Now, this monitor was sent to me by INNOCN, and I hope I'm not butchering that name, for honest review. They paid me no money or offered me no percentage of the sales that they get off of this video if I should put a link at the bottom, which I'm not. So what you see in here is what I really feel, and anybody who's seen any of my videos know I come with the real. So if it's trash, I'm gonna call it trash. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I haven't done a review on it, but it'll take a king's ransom to replace my C2 42-inch that's right behind me. It's the perfect size for what I need to do for productivity and creativity and gaming. But can this 28-inch 4K monitor replace that? I doubt it, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Cause I'm a sucker for bright and crispy graphics like a big button to smile, and I ain't even playing with y'all. I'm not even dodging eye contact when I say that. Because I know the pixel density is much higher, so it should be crispy clean, and I can't wait to see it. Now let's see what this box got to offer. Pause. This is a 28-inch widescreen 4K 60Hz IPS panel, 99% sRGB, 93% DCI-P3 color gamut. It's calibrated when it left the manufacturer with a delta E of under 2, 178-degree viewing angle, 400 nits max brightness, 1001 contrast ratio, 1 display port, 2 HDMI 2.0 ports, and 1 3.5mm audio jack. An adjustable stand that goes up and down and tilts forward and back. It's VESA wall mount compatible at 75 by 75, and the price, now look at me when I tell you, and I look you in the face and tell you the price. $249, 4K, 28 inches. Yeah, it's 60 Hertz, but man, we've come a long way, but I got to see if it's worth it. So with the exception of the low gaming frame rate and lack of support for NVIDIA G-Sync and AMD FreeSync, it seems to be pretty okay specs for productivity and creativity. But is it good enough for gaming? Maybe not competitive gaming, but we gonna test it anyway, because that's just what we do. So in the box we have the monitor itself, the base, and what I'm gonna call the neck, that's what it is, an HDMI cable, a power cable, a screwdriver for some reason, and the calibration results. And looking at it, like I said before, it's quite impressive if this is the actual results. The monitor was pretty straightforward to put together, just like any other monitor that I've had in here. Screw the base to the neck with a screw that you can hand tighten, hang the monitor on the neck, but instead of it locking in place like any other monitor that's out there or any other more expensive monitor that's out there, you have to screw 2 screws in the back to secure it. So that explains why the screwdriver was in the box. The build quality is quite good. It's light and doesn't feel like it'll break if you move it or tilt it in the wrong direction too much. The power and the menu buttons are located on the lower right hand side like any other monitor. The power button is the one that's lit, and all of the buttons are nice and clicky. They don't feel cheap or loose, because never mind. I'm not going to compare that to anything else. In the rear, we see all of the ports in the back all snug together in one spot, which I like, with the power input on the other side. What I don't see is any cable management. So if you have cable management OCD, you need to figure out another way to tuck these cables away, or like that OnlyFans page you keep paying for, this monitor ain't for you. But I would have liked to have seen some type of swivel, which this monitor does not have. Crazy. Because for me, it's kind of a deal breaker if I have 2 of them. Because when you don't have swivel, it's just, to me, it just screams cheap, which this monitor actually is, so touche. So with that, let's power this puppy up and see what it's all about. I can't wait. Look at the excitement on my face. Now, after powering this thing on and selecting the language, I immediately went inside the menu to see if I can kick it up to max brightness, which I did. At first, it wasn't that bright, but after I went into the settings and found dynamic brightness and set it to elaborate, it was quite bright, almost up with my C2. And that says a lot. Now, unlike the C2, it's not gonna be super bright and have infinite blacks, because that's an OLED back there, so I forgive it for that. So for brightness, I'm gonna actually give it an A+. Grading on the curve because of the price. Surprisingly, this monitor does have internal speakers, or what sounds like a speaker. So basically, I'm giving it an A just for even having the option. Now, it's not gonna knock your socks off. It actually sounds much worse than my cell phone, but it is just good enough to hear in case you wanna watch a quick YouTube videos or watch a tutorial on something that you're doing while you're at your desk. Other than that, if you need better sound, go ahead and employ some computer speakers. They're only like 30 bucks at Best Buy, even cheaper than that on Amazon. Don't be cheap. The monitor already was. Colors. Now again, this monitor came from the manufacturer already calibrated, allegedly. And I'm not saying they're lying, but the colors from a non-technical standpoint, because I don't have all that expensive gear that some of these folks on YouTube have that cost thousands of dollars. I just use these, which is expensive enough. But from what I can see, the colors look great. The saturation is on point, and the colors and the reds, especially the reds, just pop off the screen, almost like an OLED, but not quite. And the blacks are about as deep as blacks can get, considering this is an IPS panel. So with that, I'm actually giving it an A. Again, I'm grading everything on a curve because this is a $220 monitor. For viewing angles, just make sure you're looking at it head on. From any other side, from left or right, or from top or bottom, and I don't know why you would look at it from the bottom, you will see a little bit of vignetting, and I'm going to call it vignetting if you look at it from an angle. And you really don't notice it. I only notice it because I was nitpicking, but since I said it, if you got this monitor, you'll probably notice it too. But for any regular consumer that's just looking at it from the side, you wouldn't even see it. So viewing angles are great. The colors pretty much don't shift at all. So overall, it's a B, borderline A in my book, only for that little bit of vignetting, but quite acceptable, again, for the price. The menu is fairly simple and easy to use if you've navigated any other menu that's out there on a monitor. Once you know what each button does, you can fly through the menu with no issues. Everything is pretty standard for a gaming monitor. You have options to change the response time, 3 gaming modes, and also an option to have the frame rate or crosshairs displayed on the monitor itself. You also have a picture-in-picture mode, which could display another input if you desire. On a screen this size, that's actually big enough to see. You can change things like sharpness and contrast, and also change the response time for a better gaming experience. So overall, they pulled no punches on consumer option. But to be honest, that's about as deep as I'll get into the menu, because they didn't cut any corners here. You have just about the same options as you have on any other gaming monitors out there, just not as fancy. So I'm giving it an A. 4K video, especially from YouTube, looks fantastic. Colors are nice and saturated, and the blacks stay black, not grayed out or some other shade of black, but also not as black as an OLED. I'm shocked by this monitor's performance watching various 4K 60 YouTube videos. Movie clips or demonstrations by LG, Samsung, or Sony TV just jump off the screen. It handles those videos quite nicely, and I have no complaints about what I saw. Could I nitpick and find any little thing? Yes, I could, but I won't. Especially because I'm grading this on a curve for a monitor of this price. It's 4K. Yes, it's 60 hertz, but it's still 4K at 28 inches. That is ludicrous. So overall, I'm giving it an A again. And this thing is passing with a high GPA right now. I didn't expect that when I got this in the mail. But we have to game on it. And that's about 80% of the grade. Because you know how them teachers be doing. You do the little things and you think you're getting a good average, and then they say, oh yeah, this project right here is worth 50% of your grade. And you don't even much want to do that shit. Gaming on this thing, to be honest and straightforward, is a joy as long as you're not playing competitively. Again, this monitor is only 60 frames per second, which is suitable for action and adventure games, where it's just you against the virtual world. Anything else like first-person shooters like Fortnite or any of those massive online multiplayer games where you need a competitive edge with those extra frames, you're probably gonna get your ass beat, no cap. And before anybody asks, no. If you drop the resolution to 1440p, it will not, I repeat, it will not increase the frames. This monitor is locked in at 60 frames per second max. Now the colors on various games were nice and saturated, just like I like them. Graphics were Popeye's Chicken Crispy. I'm used to being on my 42-inch C2 where the pixel density is 100 ppi. But this monitor at 28 inches is 157 ppi, which I've never experienced before on a gaming monitor. It looks outstanding. Bright, crispy, just like I like it. It gives you a bright and crispy gaming experience. No cap. The only reason I'm giving this thing a B is because it caps out at 60 hertz, which is a no-no. Now for productivity, this is a straight up A, because you don't need more than 60 hertz to work in Word or work in Excel. If you don't need more than 60 hertz, then typing in Word or Excel or having multiple windows open, you're gonna have no trouble using this monitor. The only thing that will hold you back is your own vision if you can't see the small font that this monitor at 4K 28 inches could produce. But then again, just go into settings and change it. Problem solved. In conclusion, the overall performance of this monitor is great. The value is outstanding. If I have to nitpick, I saw a little tiny bit of light backlight bleed on the lower left-hand corner that you can only see if you're looking for it. That probably looks worse on camera than it does in person. I also did a dimming zone test and it was hard for me to see any transfer of light from one zone to the other while the light was moving back and forth, or while the object was moving back and forth. So it passed with flying colors. I'm telling you, I might have to go back and see if this monitor is actually $250 right now on sale for $220 because this is crazy. The only two drawbacks I have for this monitor, and I've already said them before, is the 60 hertz cap, which is a no-no for me, and no swivel function, which is a no-no for me. But both of those are forgivable if you don't play competitively or you don't even care about the swivel function. Other than that, this monitor is well worth the cost, especially if you use it for creativity or productivity like I would. We have a lot of people working from home these days, and this can actually make work more efficient if you don't want to bother with or don't have room for two smaller monitors. So going back to answering my question earlier, could this monitor dethrone my C2 42 inch? And that's a no. Capping at 60 hertz? No swivel function? That C2 in the back, I love the 120 hertz frame rate. Doesn't need the swivel because it's big enough. And I love those Bernie Mac blacks. But I will be keeping this monitor around for something because it's just too good to not use. I just need to figure out what I want to display on it. Maybe hang it in the bathroom or something. Other than that, that's it. Thanks for watching. This your boy DT 2.0. Stay safe. Deuces.